I'm Kevin Sowers, President of Johns Hopkins Health System and Executive Vice President of Johns Hopkins Medicine. Today, I'm pleased to have with me Dr. Richard Safir. He is the Chief Medical Director of Employee Health and Wellbeing for Johns Hopkins Medicine. Today, we're going to talk about how to manage your feelings of loneliness and isolation. Dr. Safir, many people across the country have been working remotely for months. And for me, being a people person, the physical distancing has also created some dynamics for those of us who get energy around being around people, especially when it comes to our family members who are considered at high risk, especially for having complications if they have comorbid conditions. How do you see this impacting people?
Well, this is really a tough period, and just the social isolation alone is a challenge. Unfortunately, this loneliness is contributing to a feeling of loss. And these feelings of loss are real. And, we're human creatures. We need others. As a result, the rate of depression is going up. It's going up dramatically. Depression is now 3 times as common as it was before the pandemic started.
I can say for myself, I have not seen my mother in over a year now, but as I look at the holidays approaching, I know because she has pulmonary disease, it's not safe for me to go and spend the holidays with her. And so while it's a hard choice, we've had to make some creative ways to connect. And at the same time, employees have been accustomed to working together, have been working remotely. Do you have any tips that might help people really think through how they could stay connected in their work groups?
Yes, definitely. Now, some colleagues may be getting together outside of work, and we just want to remind you, you need to do that safely, please. So, outdoor activities are obviously the best choice, but with the weather getting a little bit colder and the days getting shorter, that's not always going to be possible. We have a whole host of resources called Staying Safe and Socially Connected on the Office of Wellbeing website. And so, people are doing Zoom happy hours, Netflix parties, games that can be played through the internet. There are instructions on how to do Pictionary, visit a museum together virtually, and even trivia games. So there are a lot of options. You just have to be creative and be open-minded to go with those that go with that path.
I also know that managers are trying to stay connected to the employees that are working at home, and that's sometimes through teleconferencing. Are there other ways that managers can stay connected with their team members?
Yes, and having that video camera on really is the bare minimum. We really need to see each other's faces. So please encourage, whether it's your team or other meetings that you're on, encourage people to turn their camera on. So in addition to staying safe and socially connected, the activities I just mentioned, we also have a well-being team menu. And so this is a variety of options that teams can do together. We'll have someone from the Healthy at Hopkins team join your virtual meeting, and they can do something like a progressive muscle relaxation exercise or breathing exercise. We also have sleep and stress seminars. So there's a variety of things we can do with you and your team. And this isn't just about the content. This is about building some team around the idea of being well. This helps make it more normal for your team to discuss how everyone's coping during this time. So I strongly encourage our managers to take advantage of that. When the weather gets a little bit more cooperative, maybe think about having an outdoor meeting on one of the Hopkins campuses. Of course, you're going to want to stay 6 feet apart and bring your own chair, but that's another way to be connected and still stay safe.
Philosophically and from a values-based as a nurse, I always have felt that the only way we can be successful in taking care of patients is by taking care of each other. So if we see someone that we work with that's really struggling with social isolation, what should we do, Dr. Safir?
Well, it's really important that we all stay attuned to our colleagues. And so, if you do identify someone who's feeling isolated or depressed, and you offer them help, but they aren't interested in being connected, I would suggest that you call My Support. My Support has a host of resources to help individuals cope with situations. And they may be able to help you, the manager, or you, the colleague, understand how you might be able to draw your colleague who's feeling isolated or depressed to the table to seek help. We also have our spiritual care team, our chaplains. And I would strongly suggest you consider engaging with them if you haven't before. Many people think that that path might be about a specific religion, but really it's not. They will take a spiritual approach that's not specific to a religion to make sure that you and your colleague are comfortable. The final resource that I suggest is to think about whether or not the RISE team is appropriate in this situation. If your colleague became withdrawn or had these feelings of isolation after a traumatic event on the floor, like the death of a patient, then perhaps one of the clinicians on the RISE team, this is a peer-to-peer service, might be the best choice.
We're approaching the holidays, and clearly it's a time historically when families got together and reconnected. And of course, this time it's going to be differently. Johns Hopkins Medicine is strongly discouraging people to travel because our data shows us right now that from our employees who are testing positive with COVID-19, that they are actually getting it through community spread, and it's typically coming from large gatherings. So we know that there are risks of us getting together with our families. What sort of plans do you believe people could put in place to as they approach the holidays to still connect with their families, but maybe not in the same way we have in the past?
Yeah, this is tough. I know my family has struggled with this very question. And we all have traditions and people we look forward to seeing at this time of year. The primary goal should really be about making sure we get to see these same people in future holidays. And in order to do this, we have to be smart. Traveling by plane, train, or bus really increases the risk because you're in close contact with so many people. So either stay at home or stay within a short drive. And ideally, you'll make this holiday season about your immediate family, the people who live in your house. Now, understandably, college kids are coming home from school, and there might be an elderly parent who's living alone. And these circumstances need to be handled well. Where possible, family members should really isolate or quarantine by themselves or with whatever unit they're in for 2 weeks. If you can meet outside, that's great. If you're going to plan like a short gathering, just like a few hour event, maybe you can be flexible and choose the day based on the weather pattern. I mean, do you have to celebrate with this extended family on Christmas, or can you do it the day before or the day after if the weather is going to look better? If you're going to have a small group of people indoors, really important to not make food and beverage the focus of that gathering. Make it about connecting with the people you love. Make sure you stay 6 feet apart, keep your masks on, crack open the windows, tell people to dress a little bit more warm. If you're going to serve food or beverage or both, then think about how to do that safely. Maybe people from one group, like the elderly parent that's there for the day, maybe that person eats in another room at the time, or you decide that you're going to somehow make sure that there's that separation, because when the masks come off, that's when the problems start.
I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful holiday season. but I do worry about people's safety. So I ask you to, as Dr. Safir reinforced for us, the importance of wearing a mask. It does make a difference. Science has proven that. Social distancing does remain an important part of this, and strict hand washing guidelines as you approach the holiday season, because we want you to be safe and your families and loved ones to be safe and healthy. So Dr. Safir, thank you again for joining me today, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.